Okay. Did you all receive an update for recording?
I got it in the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, perfect. So for today, we're going to go over last minute enrollment items and orientation. Thank you for everyone who participated and Juanette for being our winner for that gift card. This is the items we're going to go over. Just to clarify, who are the staff that will support you throughout this year? The final onboarding items, a lot of you have already presented, completed these items, but we want to clarify for those who haven't. Some of you have started late, so you're catching up, not a problem, but this is a helpful checklist, including my AmeriCorps.gov, the surveys, query forms, and payroll information. For Springfield College students, there is some information on housing that's important to know, and then our orientation information as well. Program staff. So that way we're all on the same page. Yes, I'm the program director, but also our lovely Anna Mojica is our assistant program director who can also answer any and all questions. We are both support in terms of being a sound ear and support at your site if you come across any issues. And there are specific roles that Anna takes on and that I would take on as well. Now, we do have a remote staff person named Caitlin McGowan, who will help with a couple of our members here that will be from Assumption and or specific schools. And this individual is fully remote. We are anticipating to have a fourth. Caitlin is part-time. We're anticipating to have a fourth part-time staff to also be available to support in some of the technological things that we ask for, like timesheets and some of the other projects we have members do throughout the year. And as soon as we have that name, we would also share it, probably by orientation. Now, helpful to know, Anna and I, we both receive emails from the AmeriCorps at springfieldcollege.edu account. If you email that account, we both can view it, answer. You probably, for some of you, have seen Anna answer some, I answer some. It just depends on the topic that you send. We like to delegate certain tasks to each other. Now, in times of some of the last minute things we need from members, well, a lot of you receive contracts. Great. That means your background check is done. Now, the next item is finalizing your account through the National AmeriCorps website. And you're probably thinking, okay, you saw the link. For some of you, you haven't clicked on that link yet. I can see who's clicked on it and completed their information and who hasn't. In order for me to send you that invitation, I need your social security card. That's been a question that has come up, thinking, why? Because if I have your passport and your ID, why do you need a social security? Because AmeriCorps is a lovely organization and they require more steps than the average person. So that's how we verify your citizenship. Part of the application process was checking if you were eligible to work here in the United States. And there is a verification step, and this is the final step. And this does tie in for those who, if you weren't born in the United States, yes, we might put in your information. I see the hand raised in one moment. Or Ajane, if you can send Anna a message about that. It might require more identification information to upload. And it has already come up. It's come up in the past with other members. Exactly who gets picked to be verified for their citizenship is not determined by us. That's federal government. But it will hold up in terms of your final acceptance into the program. Yes, you are accepted into the program, but in terms of being able to count hours starting end of August, early September, if they don't receive that extra information they're requesting. Just so that way we're also on the same page. This is the email that comes to each member. You will be seeing your email here. This is coming from the AmeriCorps.gov website. However, I'm putting in your information, then it gets sent to you. You'll see a unique URL. I blocked out the URL for that specific person, but it does say you have to create a username and password. If you forget that username and password, you can't come to me or Anna for that information. You would have to use the national website or the national help desk phone number, because again, not through our offices. We send a request, but then that goes out to the federal government. Check your spam. If you feel like we've sent it to you, but you haven't seen it, please check your spam. If you need the link to be resent, I can resend it. However, this unique URL will change. So if you decide to then find your original email, it will not work. Then you have to find the new email that I sent out. But once you're done, once you complete your username, your password, create your ID, one thing to know, if you're having issues, if your name has a hyphen, a dash, you have to include that. Whatever was in your government ID, we had to use that exact spelling, dash. If you have two parts of your name, we had to use exactly the way it's written. We haven't seen any issues with that, but just in case if there is, we're happy to walk you through that process of creating an account. Now, just so that way we're also on the same page, you create an account, you go through the steps. This page might seem different. I think this is an older website. This is what our training site has given us. Might be a little more updated than this, but you go through, you verify your social, you verify your birthday, you create an account. Just because you did that does not mean you've been processed and approved. It could take a couple of days. For many of you who completed your enrollment the next day, we received the approval like within a week. So a lot of you actually are approved, the ones who did it last week. We've already received approval. So that's great. You don't even see that on your end. You're just all set. If you weren't approved or you need more information for citizenship or whatnot, we did reach out. Or if it's still pending, that's not on you. That's not on us. That's the federal government taking a bit longer for certain names. And certain names will take longer. We know we think we know why it takes longer for certain names for citizenship, but we haven't proved it, so we're not going to make assumptions. But that's why we say it could take up to 2 weeks for approval. So the sooner to get that done before orientation, it has to happen before orientation, the better. Now, we've also asked for everyone to take a survey. You guys are, but I mean, everyone here has done such a great job in completing the survey so far. If you haven't, we will resend it to you. Why do we have you do this survey? Helps us contact who your practicum or internship advisor is. A lot of times they want to know this summer who the location, the email, and their license information, if there's license information, especially for social work. So we've been doing that sporadically throughout the summer. So it's a lot easier if we just had everyone's information out at once versus getting emails from different advisors at different times. Now, we have asked for accommodations. If there is something with sight, hearing, mobility that we need to make sure our trainings meet your requirements and also your sight, we would prefer to get that done sooner than later. Also, your allergies, because we do have we are using the cafeteria, but if you have specific requests like a halal or an allergy, please let us know so we can let Harvest Table know during orientation. That's who we will be using on campus. And also, we did ask a question if you've worked on Springfield College campus this past year, so that way we can talk to HR to get you off the list of doing payroll paperwork and get you automatically enrolled in our payroll for AmeriCorps. So that's why we have you take the survey. It's not to waste your time. Now, for Corey forms, for those that are in Springfield, you've probably been completing them. A lot of you have. For some of you who have not, it is required. For Holyoke, it is required. We haven't sent it out yet. We are in the process of sending out Holyoke, so you're not late with that one. But the Corey forms, you complete, but we send it out to the HR office. We send it out because we have your identification copies. So that way, all you have to do is just fill it out. We send them on secure link, your ID with the form, and they process it. And on our end, we then request, an ID for you to enter the school, a laptop. So on our end, we get you the laptop and IDs, but we need that first process. So it's just to streamline everything. And so that way it doesn't fall on your school or your site supervisor to get you a laptop to serve the kids or an ID to get into the school. We're doing that right now as we speak. Again, one less thing for you to worry about. We just want you to come to orientation and let it all be there ready for you. Now, Corey forms could take up to 2 weeks. We've seen them approved in a couple days. But again, this is the same federal government that's checking. Certain names could take longer. So it's better for you to complete those forms early than later. And if you're kind of questioning if you've done a Corey form, we will send out, for those that are outstanding, a Corey form. So if you don't hear from us, that's good news. Now, if you are a previous employee for Springfield Public Schools or Holyoke, please let us know. We can get that waived as well. But they need to know like exact spelling of your name, which we could provide that to them, but we just need to know. Now, payroll. And this is going to tie into timesheets because it's a question that keeps coming up. Payroll, all members, regardless if you're a Springfield College student, will still need to complete a payroll forms. You will do that during orientation. So you can't do that early. You have to do it during orientation. If the only exclusions, if you've already worked last year, and if you completed that paperwork, if you were a GA. So if you're a GA, you've completed the paperwork early, great, we have to know that. But if you're a GA that has a grad assistant, a grad student in Springfield College that has not completed that paperwork yet, you can complete that with us, and that would actually complete your paperwork for your grad work as well. So just let us know, have you done it or not? Now, payment has been a question. When do you receive your stipend? When do you receive that? Which are great questions. So you receive your stipend every month at the last Friday of the month, starting September through June. Everyone's contract ends that mid-June. So our payroll month runs the 15th through the 14th. For example, August 15th through September 14th. Again, we don't start our program until the 19th of August. That's perfectly fine. Your stipend doesn't change. It's flat rate, stays the same. But you won't receive your actual stipend. You won't receive it on the 14th. You actually receive it the last Friday of September, which is September 27th. That's how payroll's done at this college for stipends. Now, your last day of service is June 15th. Well, your stipend, you won't receive it till the last Friday in June. So that's how it makes up the 2 weeks that you started. Technically, it's 2 weeks you started early in August. There's 2 weeks in June you're not serving. So it's not like you served an extra 2 weeks that you weren't compensated for. Just so that way we're all aware, and that's, again, a question that's come up. Now, what happens if you miss a whole month between the 15th of September through the 14th of October? You don't receive a stipend. We have timesheets that you have to complete every single week. And if it's all zeros, you don't receive a stipend. What if you go home for a week? In June, in May, in April, we receive different types of scenarios that members have given us, like going back home. Perfectly fine. Your stipend stays the same. You can go back home, don't worry, but you can't miss a whole month. That's our biggest thing. Sounds good. Now, timesheets. The timesheet portal, which we will give a training on, is during orientation. Please don't worry about what we're using for timesheets. We train you. That timesheet portal gives you up-to-date hours, your total hours. So if you're concerned, what if I can take this week off or not? You'll see how many hours you've accrued, and it also gives you an average of how many hours you need to complete for the rest of the year. And it keeps updating. So if you're doing more hours in the fall, it'll update to say, well, you actually are on track to do slightly less hours every week for the rest of the summer, for the rest of the year. Up to you if you want to decrease your hours. But you get live weekly up-to-date hours of what you've accrued so far. Now, a question that also has come up with hours. Who determines your schedule? You do determine your own schedule. So for some of you that have been already trying to pre-plan out your GA positions, your part-time positions, maybe a full-time position you have in the evenings, not an issue. If there's certain days that you know you can't serve, or classes, that's not a problem. You will meet your supervisors the week of orientation, and you'll be able to let them know these are my hours. Now, for some of you who have mentioned you have great flexibility, you kind of want to know how the school's like, what certain days are like IEP meetings. You can keep it also flexible until you meet your supervisor, and then come up with those days with your supervisor as well. Whichever is your preference or works better for your schedule. Some of you need a hard, concrete outline. We understand that you're coming with other responsibilities and family. Now, as you're pre-planning your hours, this is really important to note as you're thinking about, oh, I need this many hours, this many days for the rest of the year. If you are to serve 6 hours or more, there is 30-minute time that you need for break. Doesn't have to be lunch, but 30 minutes will not count for your timesheet, and it is required. You can't serve through that. So you will have to put in a break. If you think you can get all your time done in 8 hours, it's actually going to be 7.5 because of that 30-minute break. Just so that way we're on the same page, and we will re-emphasize that during orientation. But I have a lot of great members here that are very much planning out every single day for their whole year. So we're letting you know, if you're that person that's really planning out every week, take that into account. And again, this won't be the only time you hear this from us. We will re-emphasize this in our training come August. Hannah?
Okay, so move in, but before that, like Alicia had mentioned previously about query forms, if you are wondering if you completed the query forms, I sent out a reminder email for those who I have not received a query form on July 23rd. So just look in your email if you received an email from the AmeriCorps email about query forms on July 23rd or this week. If you had not, then you are all set as of now. So I just wanted to preface that. And so move-in for Springfield College students. The reason why we asked that everyone here to fill out the information, there was a request of information for Springfield College students about housing and their arrangements, because we are in contact with Residence Life directly to plan about your housing for this upcoming year. So as you had filled out the request form, there's a section about your housing, your email, and your student ID. That information will be given to Residence Life, and so they can move on with this next couple steps that they are going to plan for the next couple weeks. So next week, August 29th, no later than August 2nd, you'll receive an email from Residence Life about your room assignment for the academic year of 2024 through 2025. There, they'll instruct you to complete some forms that are available in your housing portal. These forms need to be completed prior to you arriving. If they are not completed, there will be some difficulties in your arrival and your housing assignment for move-in day. Move-in day for Springfield College AmeriCorps members is Friday, August 16th between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. During this time, I think we mentioned it in the next slide, but just to preview that, if there are difficulties or a conflict of timing for move-in, please let us know directly through the AmeriCorps email to let us know and how we can have that conversation with housing to make sure that your arrival and your housing move-in date runs smoothly. The 16th, again, to preface, is the Friday before our orientation. So we give you Friday, then you have Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday is our first day of orientation. To note this, Springfield College AmeriCorps will provide lunch and a light breakfast during orientation week, but for dinners and any other meals around that before and after orientation week, that will be your responsibility. The dining hall at Springfield College will not open until regular move-in weekend, which is August 30th. So we want to preface that again. Many members will probably start serving at their schools the following week. That means that lunch, breakfast, dinner will not be provided on our behalf. So you are responsible for those meals. So some Q&As that we've had across the years and this year as well. These are just some of the answers that we have. So a question that came up, am I responsible for the housing costs for early arrival? No, your housing costs will be waived for the 2 weeks that you arrive prior to the normal check-in. Because you are part of AmeriCorps and you are going to be in the process of serving, it is waived. So what are other times when housing costs are waived? Housing costs are waived, again, when members are in active service during the closure periods of Springfield College. These fees will be waived during breaks such as Thanksgiving, winter, and spring break. Also, housing costs will be waived at the end of the year when members have to stay through June when classes have already ended and most of your peers have already moved out of their housing. During this movement, okay.
I just want to make sure that everyone knows we do check timesheets those weeks.
Yes, correct.
So housing will verify with us if you've served or not.
Yes, and with winter break, as Alicia had mentioned, members cannot take a full month off of vacation. If not, you will not receive a stipend. And so Springfield College or any university, this goes for all members, any university break tends to be about 3 weeks. So it's on that borderline of crossing that 4-month threshold of not receiving a stipend. So there will be a same request form at the end of the semester or the end of 2024 December, asking when you'll be arriving back to the area, whether it's in the colleges that you go to, just asking when you arrive to line it up with your timesheets to make sure that you are serving the time that you're given or you're expected to serve during these breaks. But we do understand that many of you have to travel outside of the state to see family, and we understand that. That's why we just ask for communication during these times to make sure that we line up for housing purposes, for our training purposes, and for the stipend as well. The next question is, during this move-in period, will I be moved into temporary housing? So once you arrive on August 16th, they will be giving you your permanent housing assignment that you either have already picked or are being assigned for this academic year. So there'll be no temporary housing. But a question that will arise is temporary housing for the end of year. That is a possibility. It may or may not change, and there's no definite answer that we can give you now. But that is a conversation that you'll be well aware of prior to move out time for Springfield College students. Who do I contact if I have any housing issues or if the cost has not been waived for the time of payment? You can directly email us at AmeriCorps@springfieldcollege.edu to help address any issues at that time. It doesn't matter if there is housing, like there's different issues, facilities issues that are happening within your housing. You can also let us know to advocate on your behalf. We have seen issues on facilities that have impacted members, so we are there to support. And also, I know there have been times with the portal of seeing payments that have not been waived yet. You can also reach out to us to make sure those issues can be addressed correctly. And then lastly, how can I ensure that I will not be penalized and pay for housing during closure weeks? Residence Life will send notices, as well as AmeriCorps staff will send out notices to complete housing waivers in your My Housing portal. So please make sure that you are filling out the correct documentation to make sure that your housing is waived. And then one of the last things on our agenda before we wrap up and have questions is orientation information. So this is broad, but we do promise that prior to orientation, campus map and agenda with specific details will be sent out to all members of this program year. So the dates that you see, August 19th through the 23rd, is our orientation week held at Springfield College. The time is going to be between 8:30 and 4 p.m. It will vary. And we want to preface that we do understand that during this time, for some graduate students or leaders on campus, that there may be meetings that you may have for your specific departments, such as social work, school counseling, anything like that. Please let us know, but we also are taking that into consideration with the time. So we're asking that all members to hold these 2 time slots for the whole week, so between 8:30 to 4, but it may vary, and you'll see that in the agenda that will be emailed prior to the orientation week. Again, we'll send out a campus map. We are located in the Welcome Center, the admissions building at Springfield College, our office, but we will also be holding orientation throughout that week in the same building. You can follow the address below to help guide you to come on campus. And for parking, all visitors and members will be able to park in lot 4 during this time. What to bring? I suggest bringing a notebook. Items will be provided, but make sure that you are taking notes and just being prepared, because the training is really good with the people that we ask to give the orientation training, such as ourselves, but also different people like clinicians, professors, to give good knowledge on AmeriCorps, but also this field of social emotional learning. When you meet your site supervisors, it can vary. We haven't had a defined time, but it most likely will be either August 21st or Friday the 23rd, where you will meet your site supervisor and most likely also step on your site to view the support staff that will be at your site as well. Final decisions based on host site will be made that week, and we'll notify you on Monday, August 19th during orientation of the definitive placements. Most of the placements have been placed on your contracts, but if there is any issues that do arise between then and now, we can address that. And then, Alicia?
Correct. So some of your schools, they are listed as a can't remember what the higher needs school.
Empowerment zone.
Okay, the empowerment zone. They do not need to follow Springfield Public School schedule. So some of you will be seeing your schools on a Friday. Some of you will be seeing your schools on a Wednesday. We're allowing them to decide which day fits best. If they're empowerment, they might be opting for you to come on a Wednesday. And we are accommodating, we're adjusting our schedules right now. So that way, if you're on a Wednesday, you're not missing a training. And if you go on a Friday, you're not missing that training. So again, if we can let you know beforehand, we will. But we've already reached out to the principals and the site supervisors to ask them what is their preferred date. Because some of them have to be in their building on that Friday. So they've asked for their members to come in on that day. Some of them have said, we're closed, everyone's remote. We prefer them to come on a Wednesday. So that's where not everyone will be on the same schedule, but you will not miss anything in terms of the training for us.
And this may also fall into those who are serving in Holyoke sites as well.
Yes, also Holyoke. And for the for Worcester-based group school, that might also take into consideration as well. It might be something virtual. Holyoke and Worcester School might be virtual. But again, we're confirming with your site and we'll let you know exactly what that will look like for you. Okay. Now this is where you can all, ask your questions, and it will be, again, it's recorded. So that way someone else who's watching this recording might have the same questions. Who would like to go first?
I had 2 questions.
Yes, Ajane.
So my first question is, say if you have other obligations on campus, like I know for RA training it starts on the 22nd, I believe. What should we do about that?
We've been in contact with the RA staff. So that way your priority would be to come to our trainings and then you would make up your trainings with the RA staff. But if that's a concern, we can get that in writing and send that to you.
Okay, thank you. And also, I already had a AmeriCorps account before because I did something else with AmeriCorps. Do I still have to enroll? Because when I went on the page, I couldn't figure out where to enroll at.
Oh, that's actually a good question that came up with someone else. If you have been an AmeriCorps member before, we need to know what that email you used for the first account was, because it needs to tie in. For those that have been AmeriCorps, for those who are AmeriCorps members last year, I referenced their last year email. So that way it's not resent to like a Springfield College email when they use the Gmail. So Ajane, after, I need you to email us and let us know what email you used for when you first served, because I can delete your request and then resend it with that correct email.
Okay, thank you.
We've had Precious, your hand has been raised.
Hi. Yes, quick question. Oh, you can't see me in black. About the stipend. So I know that on the contract it did state the exact amount. Is that before or after taxed? Is it taxed? Is that the exact amount I should be expecting?
That's a good question. So that's pre-taxed.
Okay.
I do have a meeting tomorrow. Because HR hasn't given us a definitive, you actually aren't the only one that has asked that question. A definitive answer exactly what gets taxed, if it's just FICA that gets taxed, or if there's anything else. So, let me when I send the recording, I will also send, so after my meeting at 10 a.m. tomorrow, I'll send the recording and then exactly what gets taken out. So that what the percentage would be, not the exact dollar amount, because we have some that aren't on the same contract.
Yeah.
But the percentage is always the same. So, okay, not a problem.
Thank you.
But for everyone, it's pre-tax dollars. We have Yana.
Hi, so I actually had a question with regards to the Corey doc. Maybe I don't know if it's going to be a valid question.
Mhm.
So I tried doing it online and emailing it back to you guys, but I can't. So I was trying to figure out how do I send it to you? Do I send it to the school? Who do I present that to? Maybe I missed it in the email. I'm not sure.
So you would, if you would like, if it's completed, you can send that back to us, a copy, and then we present it to the schools because we already have your IDs. If
Mhm.
not, it would be a longer process if you sent it directly to the school.
Okay, so I'm gonna scan it in and send it right back to you guys. Okay, thank you.
Of course. And then I think Kiana had a question.
Hi, I just was curious about for lunch. So I'm living off campus, so I'm not going to be on campus living. So should I just bring my own lunch, or is lunch being provided by Cheney for everyone?
Lunch is
So
provided for everyone. Oh, sorry,
Yeah, for that week.
for that whole week.
Okay.
And if you're going to your site, for instance, if it's the Wednesday site visit, it's probably in the morning.
Mhm.
That time that you're at your site does count, for
Okay.
training time. So we're anticipating that you end your site at like 12. So that way
Mhm.
you have 12 to 1. Normally our lunches are 12 to 1. And again, we'll send an exact agenda. So when you come to campus, you could come straight to Cheney, eat, and then we'll start our afternoon session. Same
Okay.
thing if you're on Friday. So everyone will
Okay.
have lunch even on the day you meet your supervisors.
Okay. I had one more question. How do we know for sure like everything's all set with the website? Because I know I created an account and everything, but I just wanted to like, do you guys notify us if we're like good before orientation?
For the AmeriCorps email, for the AmeriCorps national website,
Mhm.
we normally don't send you an email that you've
Okay.
been all set. We've only sent an email if you're not set. Um,
Okay.
but if you would like, I can confirm if that's all set on your end. And also for those who haven't clicked the link to register your account, we do reach out and, get confirmed if you're still outstanding on that. So like no news is good news, but if we could still let you know.
Okay. That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Christian?
Yeah, I think that you already answered this, but I think I missed part of it. So I just wanted to clarify if we're working our internship at like Springfield Public Schools, we would get an ID badge and a laptop to use during our service.
Correct. That's part of the query. I need that query filled out so that way I can go to IT and have them start the process. It has ranged in terms of when you physically get that. Our hope is that you can have that within the first week of you serving at your site. For Springfield, IT will have you go to their site to pick up the laptop. And then in terms of IDs, they're usually mailed to your school. Because that's two different offices, one for ID, one for laptops. But our hope is that we can get that strained out by the first week. Like after you serve orientation, you'll have to schedule an appointment with IT. And again, this seems like cumbersome and extra appointment, but our hope is that either they can accommodate us during orientation where whoever's in Springfield can go, or they'll have you scattered within the first week to come at different times. But that's up to the IT department how they want to get it done. Everyone's different every year, but we work with what they tell us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Julie?
I just had a question on like what to wear to the orientation. I don't know if there's like anything specific that we have to wear that week or if it's just kind of, but I just was curious about that.
We'll send out an email for when we do the parking in the campus map. We usually let you know what days are like the dress code. For the most part, they're always like casual attire unless you're visiting your school. And then we will provide you on one of the day's photos. We're going to do a group photo. We provide you with that uniform. So it's never on that same Monday. But we'll provide you when we provide you with the agenda, we'll provide you with the attire for those days.
Okay, thank you.
To answer Kyla's question, she asked if to email if they didn't receive the invitation to email the AmeriCorps email, please.
Correct. And again, if we resend that link, if that first email we send, you can't use it. That link no longer works. We're sending you a new link. Any other questions? Anything in the chat, Hannah? That was the only thing in the chat.
Mhm.
Well, we're doing great. With 5 minutes to spare, I would say we greatly appreciate every single one of you who made it to this training. We will have more members join us come the fall or come August. And by all means, if something comes up and you have another question, reach out to us. And we love doing Zoom calls, so if you like a Zoom call, by all means. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording.